Hi there folks, welcome to another clip here on my YouTube channel. Before we get started with the chart technical and fundamental part, let me simply introduce this kind of a channel once again. I'll be happy in case you simply press that red button here at the YouTube platform and subscribe that channel. And not to forget, I would like to emphasize you guys to simply leave some thumbs up. Very much appreciated if you do so. Alright, let's have a look at the chart technical part right now. The chart technical picture, as you can see, this is the source is Forex, so the Forex exchange is spot. And you can see that needle up here from the end of January, beginning February 21, and just caused by this kind of a, let's say, short squeeze, and accompanied, of course, with a lot of stories around Wall Street bets, as you possibly remember. All right, the source from the Fibonacci retracement analysis from the starting point is that kind of a low here from 29th of September at $21.32 an ounce, and is going up to 26.90 at the 8th of March. So March 8 high, this is 0% from the Fibonacci retracement analysis. As you can see, there are a couple of retracements here: 23.6, 38.2, 61.8, 76.4. So the usual Fibonacci retracements. You can see the green and the red arrow, of course, with that kind of a zone, a possible zone to the upside and to the downside, just being pointed out where the price of silver could be heading to. Of course, just telling about both sides of the story, just because of the next waves to be set. The so-called projection levels are around 127.2 and 138.2 and 161.8. Just saying, looks a bit too heavy in my opinion if it really goes that way. A couple of things we'll be speaking about fundamentals right now, because there won't be any kind of outro with me. I'm just saying a couple of fundamentals right now because of the current, or let's say brand new Silver Institute survey from the year, or for the year 2022. And for example, it keeps on saying that this kind of a silver price could be on average, on year average 22, around 23.90. So the average could be something where we are, very close heading to. So this is something like the average price of silver for the year 2022, if you simply listen to 100% to the World Silver Survey 2022. Of course, this doesn't mean that the price of silver can't have a lot of volatility to come, but if you just check out the latest numbers of that kind of a survey, you will find out a lot of stuff about the supply side and the demand side. So, for example, the supply side, just for the forecast from 2022, should be a total supply of 1.03 billion ounces for the year 2022. So this is something like an upside of 3% if you compare that to 21 with 997.2 million ounces. So that's the supply side. Now we go into the direction of the demand side. So the total demand is around 1.1018 billion ounces of silver for the year of 22. And if you compare that to 21, it's a plus, it's a move up of 5%, just compared to that 1.049 billion ounces in 21. So if you just check out these numbers between the total supply and the total demand, you will find out how they are just printed in that kind of a survey, the so-called market balance. And the market balance is negative. So the second time in a row after 21, it should be negative. And this kind of a negative market balance is the so-called deficit. So the deficit It's been written about 71.5 million ounces deficit for the year 22. A couple of averages from net investments from exchange traded products, for example, put in addition, and you see even more deficit coming up for 22. Needless to say, this is something like a signal for a very spiking silver price. No, it doesn't mean that is the case. Just have a look at the International Monetary Fund. Just have a look at a couple of institutions, simply renewing their forecasts for the global growth, and they all tell us we could be something like walking or sliding into recession in the next quarters to come, and this could lead us to the conclusion that a silver price could also take a little bit more dip to the downside. Just saying. Simply just because of the reason that the silver usage, the silver demand side is a lot of percentages from the industries. So we are not speaking only about photovoltaics, so solar stuff. We are on top speaking a lot about electronics and a lot of usage in the whole industry sector. So this is the major demand side, the industry. From that kind of a 1.1018 billion ounces, it's already something like 539.6 million ounces just from the industrial sector. So you see that is kind of a high usage from the industry. And of course it makes sense just to have a conclusion like, if there is some trouble ahead with industries, if there is something like a trouble ahead with a possibly sliding into recession, on top of that, not only because Russia-Ukraine war, but because of hiking rates in the US, hiking rates in a couple of other important economic areas. So that could mean that simply there is less industrial production in the coming years. So possibly. All right. After all this kind of fundamentals, simply wish you a perfect start into the new week. Lots of pips, lots of dollars, lots of euros, whatever your currency is, and not to forget, stay safe, stay healthy, and be prosperous. Have a good week. Thank you for your time, and let's see us next time. Bye bye.